Then we'll call this meeting to order of the Vision Fund Committee, July 23, 2026. First item on the agenda is a call to order. So can you take a roll call, please, Brittany?
Member Scher? Here. Peterson?
Here.
Stugelmeyer?
Here.
And Chair Freilich?
Here. We have a quorum, so first item on the agenda would be public comment period. So if anybody's here to comment on the agenda items here or from the past meeting, you may do so now. I don't see anybody here to do that, so we will move on to the next item, approval of the meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to see the minutes? I would entertain a motion.
To approve.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Receive Vision Fund financial statements. I believe Eric is here.
Afternoon, Chair Freilich, committee members. So looking at the financials just real quick, you'll notice change from last month to this month. We're down about $59,700, and that is, we made the third quarter payment to our economic development partners, the Chamber EDC and the Downtowners, and a little bit of interest earnings amounting to $2,792 for the month of June to get us to that net change down to about $59,708. There was no change from the June meeting in regards to the notes receivable. The one project that was brought forward was sent to the City Commission for Opportunity Fund letter of support, as opposed to a approved Vision Fund loan. Not really any other changes within the financials. You can see the little bit of interest earnings going into that committed fund balance does bring us up to 3.99 loans based on the approximately 107,000 loan amount. So I think last month I had said I thought based on timing of Cloverdale payments and the interest that we'd probably eclipse 4, but we didn't quite get there. So next month we'll get there. So that's really it for the financials. The last thing I guess I really kind of just want to piggyback off of is we do have a new finance director here with the City of Bismarck, started July 6th with us. He's in his third week and has come back, and so Ryan's here with me today.
All right.
So depending on how all this stuff works out, this probably might be my last meeting unless it's a fill-in role, but I'll let Ryan come up and sort of introduce himself to all of you and go through that.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, you bet.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Ryan Score, as Eric noted, started July 6th. I'm still here, 3 weeks in.
Right.
Looking forward to continuing. It's been a quick 2.5, 3 weeks. Looking forward to interacting with you in the committee as well as all my other duties as finance director. So I'm looking forward to it, and I thank Eric for keeping everything afloat.
Well, welcome aboard.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? All right. Any questions on the financials or any discussion? I know Laughing Sun will start paying back on July 1st as their first payment was back, so it'll probably show up next month on that. So I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the financials. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Seeing no opposed, motion passes. We'll move on to the Vision Fund scoring matrix, and I believe Noah is here to go over that, and I think we all have that in our packet here. So
Yes, you have, Chair Freilich, members of the committee, the old edition, because Noah forgot to attach the one that we updated. So we can discuss question 6. I have a completed version of question 6 that I can place in our Chamber EDC City SharePoint tomorrow. That is split, so it'll have a nice little box for existing businesses and a nice little box for new businesses. I would like to discuss, we brought this back up in April or May, our categories for 0 points for new businesses, 1 point for new businesses and 2 points for new businesses. What money amounts, investment amounts do we want to see in a business that's new, as opposed to the existing businesses being judged off a percent?
So we're looking for a dollar amount of like what your equity is into this business, or is it a loan amount, or like total project amount, or?
It'd be for additional revenue the project will have an opportunity to generate. How much? So for a new business, it'd be how much revenue will the project have an opportunity to generate for the business?
Oh, okay. Revenue. So we need a 0 and a 1 and a 2-point category.
Right
so-
now, we have it as $0 to $100,000 in revenue for 1 year would be 0 points. 100,000 to 500,000 for revenue would be 1 point, and 500,000 plus would be 2 points.
Any thoughts from the committee on that? Personally, I guess I think that's okay. 0 to 1 being a 0 point, I guess it's a low dollar amount. And if we're scoring this, I guess we have to have some 0.0, or if it doesn't matter, if we just keep adding points up. So I think it's a good place to start. So
Okay.
Anybody else?
Procedurally, would we need to, I bring it to this committee, you guys approve it, would we have to, we don't have to bring it to the city commission to get it approved?
Don't believe so, but
If it's a matrix that you guys use,
right, I believe it's through this committee. So, and then our letter of support goes to the commissions, and that would probably be attached
so
to that.
your
So-
discretion.
One question, do they usually show the projections? I can't remember now what an application looks like.
If they have nice ones, which I have one or two, well, one in the pipeline right now, which has really nice projections done by their banker, then yes.
Okay.
Sometimes they do not have projections.
So can we trust them then? Like, or, like,
I
don't know.
feel like the ones that I've brought have either been 0 to 10 and have not had to justify 0 to
Okay.
10, or 20 plus and they've justified it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think the most recent one was the chiropractor, and they justified it by having more skilled, not doctors, but like clinicians that have those new specialties, that they'd increase their revenue substantially, more than 20%.
So that revenue piece, are you reviewing that and bringing that to our application? Are we going to see that, and what is that projection based on? Do you, I mean, do we, because you can just say a number, but what do you have behind it? Are you reviewing that, or is that something we are going to have to look at on that
I think it'd be
projection?
something I'd start referring to our partners over at like the North Dakota Small Business Development Center or Women's Business Center to work with them on trying to get some preliminary projections. That way we're not just having them just say.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering is like, do we have a actual, when you say like, can you believe them? Can you trust it? Like, where are the numbers coming from? And do we have,
I'd like to see
are we going
numbers,
to be
yeah.
evaluating that as a committee, or does that come in with the application already done from you guys, the chamber, the SBA, whatever it is? I was just curious who's evaluating that projection.
I think Alex and I would take a look at it before bringing it to you
Okay.
to make sure it's reputable.
Yeah, from my
Yeah.
professional experience, I mean, every bank that's looking at a startup financing, there's going to be some projections involved with it and required for regulatory purposes and stuff.
yeah.
So I think
The
we could
lender
just
would
trust
also be-
you,
yeah.
to get that from the bank and relay that to us, whether it's in the form of the application or, verbally when you're here or whatever. So.
Yeah, we'd trust the lender, and then BND also has to do, I don't know, like as strict of underwriting, but BND
That's
does some
what
checks
I
too.
was, hoping to hear, that we would have trusted, projections from lenders or BND or SBA,
Yeah.
so.
I do just want to pause. Thinking back to a conversation we had a couple of months ago where we were talking about revenue of startups. And at that time, my understanding was that the question would be based around their total revenue. Because I remember us saying $1 million was like, we wouldn't want less than that. Does that go back to the, like, separate from the scoring matrix and industry, more of like how we're deciding on businesses separate from this? Or what led you to splitting out number 6 to be specific to the project?
I think we had a couple new businesses inquire about it, and we didn't want question 6 to be a negative for new businesses. I think the target industry, we've in conversations we've had about what industry do we want to target with that annual recapture of our goal, I think we've looked at maybe even doing, like a cumulative revenue like target for this committee, a industry, like do we want more dentists? Do we want a specific business in a specific part of town? Like do we want to revitalize a certain area and only use Vision Fund dollars for matching in that like geographic like area, like downtown or South Bismarck or something? There will be options I think that we're going to work on that we'll present to a small group and then bring to y'all.
Okay, so this adjustment would be kind of like step one of let's get question 6 so that it doesn't hurt a startup, and then down the road that would be
If we want to
incorporated.
adjust it or have the Vision Fund take a look at different size businesses every year, we could do that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, did we have any other changes on there? Just that
Is there anything else you'd like me to take a look at?
Anybody?
I like how we can adjust it as we come up with an idea, and I think it's worked out well so far, with just a minor change now.
Anybody else?
What were, can you say the tiers again? What were they?
$0 to $100,000 would be 0 points, $100,000 to $500,000, 1 point, and 500 plus.
All right, so at this point in time, you will bring this back to the committee fully, and we
Yep.
can,
Yep,
okay,
we'll bring that to the August meeting.
okay.
Completed.
Anybody else?
Probably not. But the only businesses that the one business I have that wants to go in August is an existing business. So that
Okay.
one shouldn't, I don't have any new businesses that want access, so.
All right, so I guess we will move on to the next item on the agenda is the North Dakota Opportunity Fund Letter of Support Scoring Matrix. And I did not see that here, so I don't see that in any of the materials we
Yeah,
have.
rough draft that Noah
Okay.
has, would like to talk through what our goals would be and our procedures from here. So this isn't something that would need to get approved by the Vision Fund. I don't even know if it's really something that needs to get approved by the city, in order to use for the city, but I'd appreciate input from y'all, considering if we can kind of not interlink the two a bit more, but with letters of support that if, like with Midtown Dental last month, if the Vision Fund were to say no to a project, but then say no, but we recommend you to the city commission for letter support, that would be a question with a point value on the city commission letter of support scoring matrix. So I'd probably bring the whole matrix to y'all to see.
Would that scoring matrix be just from the from the other matrix we have already, and then take that over to like, here's this matrix, how they scored, here's why we didn't fund it, but we do want them to do it, and here's the score?
I leaned pretty heavily from y'all scoring matrix for the city commission's letter of support one.
Okay.
Yes.
So are we saying, like, say they scored only a 3, then the city commission wouldn't recommend it? Is that where you're going with this?
So it'd be a separate scoring matrix that I would use. I guess I could integrate them. That'd be interesting. I'd probably have 2 separate ones.
I don't care.
One
Yes, that
clarifying-
just like crossed my brain.
Discussion, I guess. It's been a long summer, so I'm probably
Yes.
blanking on what we talked
I would say if it's a 3, we're not going to give them a letter of support to start
Yeah,
with.
so I was trying to
So
see
that's
what he was
probably
doing.
not even a
Yeah.
thing. So it'd be something where like maybe it's a business that we don't feel that's in the right category or something like that, or what we're looking for. You know, how many office buildings are we going to fund, and how many dentists for chiropractors or whatever, say. And at some point in time, you still want to support it, but then you send it on with the letter of supports to the Opportunity Fund, and that matrix would, I would assume, be very close to this matrix.
Yep.
And so,
So I think with that, my thought would be, yeah, what are the factors that make something a better fit for the Opportunity Fund than Vision Fund? And if it can be integrated with this matrix, great, but if that's also a set of a couple additional questions for if it doesn't make sense, then is that what we look at and score within there, is kind of my addition.
Gotcha. Yep. I think we'd be looking to broaden it a little bit because we want to be targeted and narrow with our vision fund. Target business industry and then target, like, we have a set amount of dollars for the vision fund. So the scope for the letter of support matrix would be a bit wider. But then also would be crafted, how do I phrase this? To reflect what the city commission wants to see from letters of support. So a unique business, a business that's not going to unfairly benefit, to the point of being unfair against its direct competitors in its industry. So what type of unique services is that new business going to bring? What type of new clientele is that business going to bring in so it doesn't interact negatively with other dentists or chiropractors in the area? I'd also probably build into this one more of a point value on constructing a new building rather than just purchasing. Or if they are going to purchase, it'd be a point value in between there. So just purchasing a building, and then slightly better would be purchasing a building and putting renovations and additions into the building. And then the best one would be constructing a brand new building.
Do we have a reason why that's the best option, I'm guessing? I mean, like, if we have an infill idea or we have existing property that's already there, I don't know why I would benefit that higher than maybe building in something that's further out of town and further. So I'm just curious why we would weight that more.
Increase in property values, I think, would be the
Okay.
main point there.
I still would want to encourage infill projects and use the properties we have.
I think that would then fall underneath that middle one where they're going to put a substantial
I guess
amount.
it's only a 1 point difference or something.
Yeah,
or-
and we'd still, in the latter part of that scoring matrix, the Vision Fund one, there is like a 2 point range for every single category. So it would just drop 1 point. It would still possibly be able to meet the highest recommendation column.
Are there other aspects related to the scoring matrix or letter of support that you wanted our input on or were kind of particularly hesitant on?
Not necessarily. I think when I get one written up, I'd appreciate just that phrasing. And if the Vision Fund does want to start referring letters of support to the commission, we work through that process a little bit more. But beyond that, no.
Okay. Any further discussion on that topic? Then we'll move on to the item number 7, a focused industry business priority discussion.
So I reached out to Mike, was it last week, Mike? 2 weeks ago?
Probably
Last
the week before, possibly. Yeah, can't even remember.
Something like a week or two ago. Just updating Mike, so I'll give you guys the update. We've reached out to, so it'd be Alex and I, Mike with the Vision Fund, somebody from the city, either staff or the mayor or a commissioner, someone from the Bank of North Dakota, someone from the Department of Commerce, and then someone from Lewis and Clark Development Group. That group would meet together as soon as we get them. I'm looking at early August, we were talking. But then annually to reset and recalibrate what the Vision Fund wanted to target for the next year or biennium, 2 years. Whether that be area in Bismarck, size of business, or type of business. The Chamber EDC would do the starting work on kind of generating some options, and then the Chamber representative, the Vision Fund representative, and the city representative would ultimately decide what the Vision Fund wants to target. And then we'd have B&D, Commerce, and Lewis and Clark there, kind of help us decide if we have any questions. They wouldn't be necessarily there like helping us decide, I guess, but they'd be resources in case you have any questions.
I feel like they could probably help us identify those targets, what maybe we're lacking or whatever. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody has ideas on those industries, we'd love to hear them. So
I guess, yeah, if you have any preliminary ideas for Mike to have in the back of his head when Alex and I bring these options, do you guys have anything right now that you'd like to see? Or do you want Mike to come back from our meeting with an option?
I mean, I like data, so my mind kind of goes there of like what, using those resources to help speak to where are their gaps, what are like the economic opportunities, and instead of like, I'm like, I could have some guesses right now, but it's not going to be anything nearly as valuable as that. So I kind of would lean on that first, but
Okay.
Andrea, I saw that you were going to say something.
I was gonna say the same thing. I'd be just guessing right now, so I'd rather have you guys who are the experts, the data behind it, tell us. If we could if there's a way to like certify when a company comes in, like the chiropractor, and says they do all these unique things, is there a way that we can like check and be like, oh yeah, nobody else in town is really doing this? I just feel like we're getting a lot, a beauty salon, a dentist, a chiropractor, they're all coming in, they're all asking for money, and they all say they're unique and great, and then, but how do we prove it? Like, I don't know these businesses, I don't know all the chiropractors in town, and I don't want to give money to one and then someone else comes in and be like, well, we do that, so give money to us. So I know we have, only so much money, so is there a way for you to do some background on that when that kind of thing comes in, or for them, can they put it on the company to prove it? I don't know.
Another thought added with that before you answer that is also, is that giving them more structure around what their presentation is, of like, describe how you meet the unmet need and some of those pieces of like what we're looking at. And so instead of give us an overview, if that can be a little more coaching to them of like, you need to hit these 3 points of like, talk about the unmet need and how you're distinct, what your project is in 7 minutes or less. And give that overview for it, because I think sometimes they come in and are giving great context on who they are, and it distracts a little bit from like, what's the unique offering within this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do get winded and tell us about where they were born and everything else.
Yeah, I think a little bit more focusing on the project, not like the project and the business and who they are, but primarily the project. They can tell us about the business, but ideally we'd learn what they're doing new with this new building that they're going to have because of the new construction. But yeah, I think that would be good. And then as far as certifying from their competitors, could be something that Alex and I do, reaching out. We might have the business identify 5 or so other chiropractors in the area, but then we would probably do the inquiries. Mm-hmm.
Whitney, I have a question. If everybody sent me their ideas via email, is that a violation of open records or anything like that? So they can't send it to you and you could compile it and then you could send it to me? Would that work?
You can send them to me. You just can't have discussion on it, or
Right.
that creates the open meeting. So I could compile it for like the next meeting.
So like if we meet in early August and anybody wanted to give me an idea of what they were thinking about for an industry or anything like that, and they wanted to send me an email with that on there, could they send it to you and compile a list of anything they want, and then you could just give it to me? I don't want to violate any records laws on that, so. Or do we have to have that discussion in this meeting? Or
You can send those to me.
okay. So I guess I would encourage anybody has an idea before we meet in early August, send it to Whitney and she can send it to me, and then that can maybe inform some of our discussion too, but. I don't,
When is that group having their first meeting?
I was going to look at the 10th, 11th, or 12th of August.
yeah, I don't have that on my calendar yet. So, but yes, I'd be available, but yeah. So any other discussion on that?
I would just think, with Brenda and her, knowledge and knowing everyone in the community, she'll have a pretty good idea talking to members and business leaders and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
Noah, you have anything else for us? Okay, thank you. Do we have any other business then? Since we don't have any, then this meeting is adjourned.